Welcome, everyone, to another episode of She Has Something to Say. My name's Lori Harris from Harris Whitesell Consulting, and I'm honored to be the host. And today we have Kyaunnee Richardson with us today, and you guys are going to love her. Everything about her. She has this gorgeous smile. Look at that smile. And she is a trained opera singer, an award-winning classical singer. You're going to just enjoy her artistic and professional work with the Orchestra of Miami, Opera Fusion, South Florida Symphony Orchestra, the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater, Civic Choral Greater Miami, and many, many more. What's even really cool about her is she's got her undergraduate and master's degree in voice and opera from Florida State University. And then also, additionally, she has a bachelor's in voice and opera with the New World School of Arts. And uniquely, and I also believe wonderfully, she's attached to her community in a variety of ways. And she just loves volunteering with the local Salvation Army and Habitat for Humanity as well. So welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. Hi, everyone. This is Kyaunnee Richardson. I guess I could start from the beginning of how it all started when I began singing. Um, I began singing at the age of 2. My mother used to put a cassette player at the head of my bed. So if anybody remembers what cassette players or are, congratulations. I still have mine, by the way. I think it still works. If I just put batteries in it, it'll work. Tapes I had like the Nutcracker. I would listen to at Christmas time, and Handel's Messiah I listened to at Christmas time. And I would say at around the age of 14, 15 years old, Phantom was introduced to me. The movie came out in 2004. So I was just enamored with the show and this thing called opera. It
Yeah.
had been introduced to me before when I was young, but I didn't really care because I was like, I'm gonna listen to Disney music, the classic Disney stuff like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Pocahontas, all of that. That's the Disney I grew up with, and but I was just fascinated with this art form. So I got the book and I read the book. I saw the show when it came down here in Fort Lauderdale, and with my dad. And then I saw it in New York. But I was like, I've got to figure out what this thing is. And when I read the book, I was actually reintroduced back to Meyerbeer, Gounod, Handel. It all led me back to these people that I have been listening to when I was a child. And then it led me to singers like Luciana Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, Marian Anderson, Leontine Price, Renee Fleming, all of these greats. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I want to do this because nobody else in my family does it except for my cousin, but that's it. So that's how I just got bit through
You
fans.
got, you got bit by opera, but you've had this artistic talent for a while, correct? I mean, this is something that's lived within you. You mentioned your cousin, and so what are some of the inspirations that you've had growing up?
In regards to just becoming a performer, ooh, well, Disney really played a big influence in that one. Funny enough, there's a story behind this. I actually got really good at watching these films, and
Mhm.
I could actually say it back to you from start to finish, music and all. Literally, I can act the whole thing out. My mother can testify to this. So, for example, let's go back to the cassette tapes. The one I played the most was Pocahontas, since that's actually my number 3 movie.
Okay, just around the river bend, then.
It was just around. And I started the cassette from the beginning. After watching the VHS, if anybody remembers those, I remember the film going through my head. So as I'm playing the cassette, I was like, oh, right, John Smith does this, and here's a ship, and there's a storm, and here comes the tribe, and they're doing this. Pocahontas falling from the... I'm literally acting out everybody's lines, and my mom's like, yeah. hmm So, but I was entertaining myself. So, and it wasn't just Pocahontas. Beauty and the Beast was another one, which is my ultimate favorite movie, and Aladdin. All of those, I had the cassette, and I would actually repeat the whole entire thing from start to finish. I just knew it, and then By the time I was in the fourth grade, I think. No, wait. It's between third and fourth grade. I got into chorus in elementary school. But I got into the junior high chorus. It was some type of a chorus that I wasn't allowed to be in because of my age, but because of my talent, I was accepted. They're like, well, we'll just let her in. And I just got a chance to be able to do a lot of the school, like, chorus stuff. I was able to sing. I was singing at my church at the time still. But this really just helped me just move forward even further. So it was really kind of there always. So, but Disney
Sounds
really
like it. And your mom probably says so too. When you're driving in the car in the back seat and the child seat, you were probably singing along.
yes, yes.
Right.
And there's another funny story behind that. Actually, I remember my mother telling me the story that my 5K teacher would purposely, again, going back to the cassette tapes, she would actually put the cassettes in the player to see what I would do. And I would sit at my desk and I will actually sing along. And then she would take the cassette out and then put it back and put another one in there. And I would still keep singing it. And they're just like, she just knows all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, my mom bought them all. So it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So along all of that way, who were inspirations for you? Who were kind of your mentors?
Oh, wow.
Why? Yeah, not just who they were, but why?
Oh, my mentors they can be between, like, whether they are that I know them or if I don't know them.
Right, right.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of people. I'll try to trim it down.
Yeah.
So I would say when I started understanding what mentors were or people who inspired me,
Uh-huh.
the biggest from elementary to about partially junior high was Whitney Houston. I
Oh,
adored her. She was like the quintessential everything. I was like, yes, this you. And then by the time opera came around, Marian Anderson, Renee Fleming, Leontine Price, Kathleen Battle, Jesse Norman, all of those. And then I pushed out further. Teachers, when I went to college, became like my mentors, like Linda Considine, Rodney Miller. When I went to Florida State, it was Shirley Close, and now with Opera Fusion, it's Birgit Fioravante. By the time I got to New York, there's a few more up there that I just was like asking lots of questions, like, what do I do? but I really looked up to a lot of like professional singers in my career, people that I wanted to aspire to be. Like, how do you get to that particular height? And the ones I've mentioned are the ones that I'm like, bottom line, hands down, those are the ones I'm like, yes. But then on the pop side, Whitney Houston. It's because her artistry is just so beautiful.
it is. Yeah. Yeah. Perfectionist almost. Yeah. So along the way, what have been some of your challenges?
Oh, my challenges. Well, when I first got into this, not many people really understood what it was, particularly when I was in high school. People were really mean in high school. You're kids, but nobody understood. So, and I didn't really fit in with anybody. So I was isolated, and it hurt, but it was okay because apparently that was going to help me in the long run. And I can actually focus primarily on my music and my technique and try to get everything done. I didn't go to really a lot of parties. I didn't hang out with a lot of people. There were a few people I hung out with, but for the most part, people can tell you from my high school, I was never in the cafeteria. Hardly. You find me in the choir room during lunchtime or with my mom. And I got over that by winning competitions and moving forward. And by the time I got into college, I was with people who I actually think the same way I do. It's like, oh, okay, this is what life is supposed to be. Yes, I can be an adult now. But I faced challenges even so when I was in college in regards to hard repertoire, trying to figure out where I fit in the scheme of the opera world. Even though that was a very early part of my development, I dealt with a lot of intonation problems at the time, and I didn't know what to do, but I kept at it. I was in the practice room from 6 o'clock in the morning to like, oh gosh, 5 in the afternoon, in the evening, afternoon, and I would just continue to work as hard and study hard. Graduated, went to Florida State. Same thing happened, but still kept focused. And by the time I got out into the professional world, now it's like a bigger pool I'm in, and now I have to fight against all of these people who practically either have the same voice as me or not, and I have to figure out, where do I fit? So it's very competitive, and you have to, and it can be very, very mean. People say really terrible stuff, but you have to have thick skin, like my dad said. And over time, it does develop. You just have to not let that hit you. You just gotta let it bounce off and keep going.
So I'm curious because I don't know anything about performing and especially performing opera. I do know I enjoy it. I do know how I feel when I listen to it and when I experience it. And it is this elated feeling. It's this deep spiritual energy that just it ignites you. You walk out at a whole nother level is all I can say. So the experience is incredibly rich. But what does it take to get there?
I believe really is knowing yourself
Ah,
and being true to yourself, because you don't want to. I know a lot of people are saying, when are we going to get the next Leontyne prize? Or when is the next Kathleen battle going to come? I'm like, they are gone, one and done. It's
right.
because they were themselves that made them so great. So I believe that as an individual singer, you have to know what makes you special. And that's just it. You are special because you are you. There's nobody else on this planet but yourself. And that took me a little while to understand, because I was compared a lot to Kathleen Battle, because they're just like, you're the next Kathy Battle because you sing her rep and you look just like her. I was like, actually, I don't look like her. Let's just get that out in the open. I do not look like her. But I do appreciate the compliment of it. The fact that it's like I'm being compared to a great singer, but I have to keep in mind that I'm not her. I will always be me. I will always be the person who is this, this is who I am. I could be goofy, I could be silly, I could be very, and but I'm very sweet. I'm all of these things, and in my singing, that all is magnified to like 1,000. And every individual singer has to understand that that's what makes you you, and you've got to put that out there every time you sing something. And not to say like, oh, we sang it just like Renee Fleming.
Right, right.
Yeah, you don't
And
want to be a Harvey.
I want you to dig in a little bit about some of the competitions through the last few years that you've been in, and now that you've moved on past college and you're into that professional world. But in order to get to that point, you've had to go through a lot of these competitions and a lot of experiences there, right?
Yes, I did. Much of the competitions I've been in I've learned what to do, what not to do.
Uh-huh.
I remember the first competition I did I think as a classical singer, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I was told not to do it, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to get out there and just do something. I
Hmm.
just felt kind of dumb being in a bubble, going like, "Oh, I guess I just continue to be this like this. Somebody will hire me." Nah, I need to go out there and see what I was up against. And I went and I sang a couple of pieces, and they were just like, "Well, that was good." Um, and then I got mad when I didn't win, because I was like, well, I should have got something like a mention or whatever. And I started to understand the certain repertoire you're supposed to sing for certain organized competitions,
Right.
and it got better over time. And then it all played into the factor about who's on the panel and all that stuff. But after that, again, that was from the college graduate years. Afterwards, I was just like, I'm just gonna sing what I want to sing. Be happy with it. And if they don't like it, fine, it's okay. Some of the singers backstage can be a little sometimes, but I mean, and again, people are different, and I'm not trying to put anybody down. Um, I have witnessed some people being very, very nasty to other singers. Like they're
Uh-huh.
playing the monkey, and I don't like that. I've gotten to the point now where I just crack jokes backstage because I just feel it's just too serious, and I'm just like, so it's composition. Sky's blue, isn't it? It's something stupid like that, and people start laughing. I'm like, great, I'll go sing. Have fun. And and that's what I love doing backstage, but goofing off, and then I'll go on stage and do my thing and then go off and goof off some more. But I'm still always focused. I actually managed to grow into that, but thankfully I did the work before so I can goof off. But I know when to, like, okay, don't mess with that person, I'll stay over here. I'll be in my zone, and I can talk to you kind of thing. But there are a lot of things you do and you don't do in this stuff, but other than that,
Yeah.
goofball.
What's the most fun about it? What is the most fun about going out there and performing?
Oh, most fun is basically just to be somebody you're not.
Oh,
Other times it's also presenting something that's a part of you that you share with the audience. That actually, to me, can be frightening and tough. So I'll go back to the first one, to be something that you're not. Like, for example, I've never played this character before, but I'm working on her. So it's like, let's just pretend I am the Queen of the Night. It's like the regalist character that you can get your hands on, but she's evil. And when y'all look at me, they're just like, oh, there's nothing evil about you. But I said to myself, if I were to channel the evil queen from Snow White and the evil queen from Once Upon a Time, the Regina Mills, you
uh-huh.
gonna be a terrifying, like, person. And I never thought I could do something like that. But because it just shows your acting skill and how you can just become this character, that's fun. On the other side, when you're sharing something of yourself, something that's very personal that happened to you, like, let's say you were in a relationship with somebody who you fell deeply in love with, but at the very end of it, it just kind of just, your heart was shattered. And that song literally mirrors what happened to you. It's like you have to literally dig in there and just maximize that emotion to the audience. It's the same thing with the other character, but with this one, this is a little bit more like tough because you literally can get to the edge of that line or that threshold where you can just completely lose it. And this
Uh-huh.
has happened several times. But you have to go, nope, get back, because if you do, there's no returning. I do remember doing street scene in Florida State University as my my first ever big length role in grad school. And I didn't really know Rose Morant per se, this character,
Uh-huh.
but she was a part of me somehow. I managed to find something in her character that was me. So I was able to play myself, but at the same time, I thought there's somebody out in the audience whose story I'm telling. And I gotta find out who it is and let them know that I'm playing you, and at the end of the story, this is what's going to happen, and hopefully you'll be able, my whole arc of the whole thing was to make sure that this person forgave everybody that did her wrong at the very beginning of the story. And I kid you not, after every single like performance, did 4 shows, I was in tears, and I just was like, and then everybody's like, curtain calls, like, hi. But I was like trying to get it together. But that was one of the toughest shows to get through because of
No,
the
it sounds like it got you.
yeah.
It got you. That's a gift. What you do is a gift. To be able to story tell through your voice, through your body language, to hear it, see it, feel it, smell it.
Yes, yeah.
That is a beautiful gift. So what I'm curious about is that gift not everybody has. That artistic talent is not for everyone, but everyone seems to love some part of it, right? So that wraps into the community at large. And where I want to go with this is, why is art so important to our community and to
Oh,
community's well-being? Yeah, why is art so important?
art is a way. Art just gives an outlet to everybody to express themselves.
Yes.
whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's love or happiness. Somebody somewhere has to be able to express that, whether it's through writing or through painting or through oh dear, what is that? Or music or anything else that has to do with the fine arts. People they just got to find that outlet. And for somebody to say that the arts is totally and not irrelevant is absurd. And to take it out of the schools, I think, is also absurd as well. Kids need an outlet. I mean, for crying out loud, we had recess. We need recess. We were like balls of energy to like get us out of the classroom. And then we get out there, we're like, yay! And then we come out, we're like, we're tired and nap time. So I just miss those times where it's like recess, nap time, snack. School. So I've been watching a lot of like nostalgic like Disney shows, and I'm like, oh, life was so simple back then.
Right.
Anyways, that's why I appreciate museums and theater and seeing other people and how they relate to this kind of thing. And to hear their story as to why this picture moves them or why this statue is, even though it's so abstract, you can't tell what the heck it is. Somehow it's able to get to somebody, make them cry, make them think, or just go, huh, that reminds me of life. I don't know. It's something about it that just, we're able to just take our emotions and just throw it out there. And it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely just wonderful. And I just believe that everybody needs to just embrace that even more, because whether you don't have to have a good voice to not appreciate music, you don't have to be a talented artist to not appreciate, a fine painting or anything. You just have to have that just appreciation of it. Be like, I can't paint, but I love this picture. I can't sing, but God, I love this music, and that's all what it's all about.
Yeah, it's all around us too, in nature as well as in man-made items as well. Everything from the car we drive to the house we live in to the shoes we wear, right? Yeah, yeah. And the sounds that are made, not just by nature, but by humans as well. So I love that. And then why opera? Of all the different genres of music, why opera?
Opera, to me, opera was the thing that was unusual. Um, it wasn't hip hop, it wasn't R&B, it wasn't pop music. It was just so unusual. Like
Mhm.
nobody in my family, like I said, except for my cousin, did it. I didn't even know my cousin did it until we had a family reunion over 5 years ago, and I think it was my great grandfather or my great great grand some maybe so many great grandfathers that we managed to record. Um, was a musician,
Uh-huh.
wanted his children to somehow be a part of the arts. And somewhere down the line, I came along, and then when I found my cousin, she was like, "I didn't know you were an opera singer," and I was like, "Hey, there's somebody else like me in the family who does this, so I'm not crazy." But I love what I have to sidetrack. But seeing how my family actually was like, hey, this is actually not bad. We appreciate this, because
Uh-huh.
everybody else is gospel in my family. Or plays the piano or some type of form of instrument, because it really all of us really came up in the church, so it's
Okay.
there. But to see opera come out, they were just like, yeah, that's yeah, just to see their face. So, and they appreciate it so much. But going back to why opera just again was very unusual, and I didn't know what it was. I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was, and I wanted to do it because it was so unusual, and it was challenging too. um, it's not easy. It's just not easy.
Can't
But
imagine.
I knew I could do it. I knew if I just stuck with it, I can do something that is unusual and different and unique. And at the same time, it um, just was able to be a way that I can express these emotions that I have to a much higher level. And the fact that I don't have to sing with a microphone, that was beyond me. I didn't know that when I was like researching this stuff, and when somebody told me they're not singing with the mic, I'm like, they're not amplified. How are they so loud? Like, how are they able to do all that? I need to go to college for this. I just need to know how to do this. And it's literally your whole being is so involved in this thing that
Uh-huh.
literally give. I would say you just literally, you're giving your heart and your soul to this art form, you're giving it like 1,000% out there,
Mm.
and then you're just completely done afterwards. You're like, that was fun, and then you do it all over
Oh,
the next day. So I
right.
there's just something about it just that just like you said, it elevates you to a very high spiritual level that you just I don't know, it's just that incredible.
I have goosebumps. I don't lie. I have goosebumps listening to you talk about it. The energy and the passion and the love that you have behind this is crazy. My next question I want to ask you, because I've been looking at your sites, I've been out there online watching you and listening to you, and I follow you now and I listen to everything you put out there now. And you travel, or even before COVID, you traveled a lot because of the performing and the opportunities that it's been bringing you. So, how do you think that traveling has impacted your view of yourself and the world that you live in and the world at large?
Oh, I just realized that, it's a small world after
Yeah.
all. Um, and
Disney was right.
you're completely right. Let's just say that. And I, I began to again appreciate the rest of the world out there because again, we're all the same. We're all humans. We all have flaws and we all have our shortcomings and everything. So I mean, and I love going out into the country to just see, what else is out there. I mean, my favorite spot to go to, if I ever get it, if when COVID's all over with, I'm going to North Carolina. I have to go back to the mountains because I was talking to a friend of mine about that, how the mountains, for some reason over there, I just feel like I'm at home there. There's such a peacefulness in those mountains.
Mhm.
But don't get me wrong, the stuff out west is incredible too. It's people don't realize how beautiful America really is. It's just, I mean, despite all of us humans that are roaming around in America, there's just so many beautiful things in this country that we take for granted, like the Grand Canyon and the redwoods in California, to like the beautiful Northwest and like Oregon and Washington to the plains of Montana. I mean, people should be able to take the time to go from Maine all the way down to South Florida, all the way out to California, and all the way up to Washington State, and go across to Montana, all the way back up to Maine, and all the stuff in between. This is a lot to see. There's a lot of history to just absorb, to understand where we came from as a country,
Mhm.
and I mean, I touched Canada a little bit. I remember I went to Niagara Falls, which was like years ago, but that was a sight to see. And it kind of came back into like my music to be able, when I start to sing things that remind me of nature or something pertaining to this country, I'm
Uh-huh.
able to draw on those memories. I'm able to like, yeah, I remember walking through a creek. I know what that feels like, or being in the mountains where it's just utterly peaceful. Yeah, I understand that. I would love to go to the Alps. That would be great because I'm pretty sure that peacefulness is different from this peacefulness over here. Who knows? Um, Probably will happen in the near future. Yay. So, but then I understand what it's like to walk in the ocean, the Atlantic, the Gulf, and the Pacific. That's a story, but I won't get into that because those are completely, yeah. And I understand all of that. Each travel that I've done with my family when I was growing up during the summer, each of them has memories I'm able to draw on to go back into my music and to have a deeper appreciation as not only as an American but as a human being.
So you perform opera, you sing opera. Do you also write music?
No.
Okay.
I actually attempted to write something when I was in high school, and then
Okay.
I don't. I'm like, no.
What do you want people to know about you in regards to your profession? What is it that you want people to, when they hear your name, what is it that you want them to know about you?
That I am an opera singer who is expressing herself in the authentic way possible. To always being true to me and telling my story, not trying to mimic anybody else or trying to be like anybody else, just to be simply Kyaunnee Richardson, who sings this amazing, incredibly difficult art form that just amplifies my story.
And there are people currently that do connect to that. And you do have the most beautiful voice, strong voice, and you have this presence about you that draws me in. I'm speaking from my own experience watching you and listening to you. And you have this sensibility and this natural magnetism about you that draws people in, and the tone of your voice is just so beautiful. It really truly is. So I'm glad there's you. Absolutely. And I want to dig in a little bit too, and I want to ask you, because one of the songs that really moved me was Gershwin's Summertime.
Going back into college, act, yes, I actually heard the song when I think Price, Kathleen Battle, and a few other singers had sung it.
Hmm.
And I remember actually being able to sing it for the first time in a little gig that I got with Florida Grand Opera for an educational outreach program. And so fast forward to about 2018, I believe. By then, I had been singing it on the regular at parties and concerts and whatnot. And I was approached by South Florida Symphony Orchestra to say, hey, we're going to do Porgy and Bess. We want you to be our Clara. And I said, okay. And so I got a chance to sing it with the orchestra as a surprise because the audience didn't know. And I got up there and I'm just like, I didn't realize that the dumb thing was up a half step, and I was like, I'm going to sing a high C today. Why? This is just it's high, but oh boy. And I laugh at it.
It's out there. I just want to say it was a jazz adaptation.
It was. Oh, and they did such a wonderful job with it because I was like, yeah, we're going to jam to this one. But it was pretty high for the song itself. But I was like, hey, I can do it. And I had so much fun with it. And the next, I think was the following year, I got a chance to play the role of Clara in Porgy and Bess. And that experience was, well, a dream came true actually for me. So in 2018, in the fall, I actually saw, believe it or not, Phantom, the tour came on. And this was like, I don't know, maybe the 7th time or 10th, I don't know, I lost count, seeing the show. And I'm sitting in the seat at the Broward Center, and I'm just like, you know what? And I just prayed. I said, you know what? I would really love to sing on the stage one day. I mean, I came to this and I saw Phantom with my dad. I said, this is kind of where it almost all started, not quite, but this was a milestone for the both of us. And particularly me, because I was like, yeah, this is really what I want to do. And I'm back here again, and I want to sing on this stage and many others, but particularly here. Because my dad and I shared that moment.
Uh-huh.
And so January, a couple days after my birthday, actually, got a chance to sing on that stage. And I was just, I was in tears. And I walked away. It was like a prayer answered and a dream that came true. So
That's wonderful. Are we ever going to have an opportunity to purchase an album for the American Songbook concert that you're going to sing for us someday?
oh, hopefully.
Right? There's so many songs to choose from, right? So let's I also want to dig in a little bit. What kind of influence are you making with other girls like you, with other girls who are, in Florida, other girls who are not white, other girls who are seeking to sing opera who, it is different. It's not for everyone, right?
Right.
So what are you doing now, or is there anything now that you're doing to kind of connect to any and all of those, and how does that feel?
Well, when the pandemic hit, well, actually no, before the pandemic hit, I had been doing like semi-master classes at my old high school.
Uh-huh.
So I remember coming in, and the praise and worship pastor is a good friend of mine. He was just like, you should come in and just sing for the kids. And he's like, like sixth
Yes.
grade. They don't care. I'm like, these are just going through puberty. They don't want to hear opera. They're like, no, you should come in, and just because when they see you, they're going to think you're from the 6th grade. I was like, really? Like, she looks just like us. Like, she's like, how old is she? And I began to sing, and they just were like oh, these are guys and girls, by the way. So they're just like, oh my gosh, like there's hot, wow. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And they're going to ask me all the questions in the world. How many languages you sing in? How high can you go? How low can you go? What's your favorite? What is opera? What is your favorite opera? Who's your favorite singer? The list just kept going. I was like, okay. And then the same thing happened, but with the little kids. No, I'm sorry, with high schoolers and the little kids. And the reaction was sort of the same, except the little kids were just like, wow, you know, they're balls of energy. They're like, ah, I'm just like, calm down. But I love them. They're honest. And I realized doing these little master classes just to introduce them to it. It was like bridging a gap that had not been like sufficiently bridged, so to speak. It's like, you know, just come in and introduce them. If they like it, fine. If they don't, I say you don't have to sing it. If you like, you know, murder or love or passion and romance or betrayal, all that stuff, opera has it, just in the very highest form possible. But you can still enjoy all the drama you want. I mean, you can watch reality TV and you talk about that's drama. You should look at some of the opera stuff we do.
Right.
Way up here, like beyond. And I use the example of the magic flute. So going back to the high school scene, my professional debut was Papagena in the 2016 Festival of the Arts in Boca Raton. And the kids were just like, oh, we don't know if we want to go see the show. I was like, do you like all of these things in magic flute? You mean you got a queen and you got a king and I'm sorry, you had a queen whose daughter was kidnapped and there's a prince, he's being chased by a snake, and then, you know, he gets saved by these three ladies and the queen arrives and my daughter's like, you know, has been kidnapped, and he's like, I will rescue her. And here comes Birdman, who all he wants is just to have a home and a wife. That's all he asked for, and we all rooting for him from the get-go to the end. And you're on this mystical journey with this magical instrument, and you're trying to figure out, you know, what's going to happen, you know, who is good, who's evil, who is, you know, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You're enraptured in that story, this fanciful story. And the kids who did go were just mind blown by the whole thing. They were just like, wow, so what's gonna happen? I know that tune. Yeah, that's it. And I see the reaction, and I didn't come on stage till the very end, so they're just, where's Kyaunnee at? You know, whatever. I'm just like, just keep watching, you'll see me. I'll come on and come off, you just won't see me. And they enjoyed it so much. They had a deeper appreciation for it. And by the time, now let's fast forward to when the pandemic hit, social media really has become a great tool for us. And I was able to connect with people, not just here in the States, but overseas. And Phantom, again, now Phantom's coming back in, was the connection. And I remember doing the cadenza competition with Andrew Lloyd Webber. And after getting that shout out, people were like finding me, and they're just like, oh my gosh, who are you? Can I ask you some advice or something? Or, you know, what can I do to be better? Or, you know, we're rooting for you, kind of thing. And I don't mind talking with them because I want to hear, you know, what can we do better to make it more accessible, make opera more accessible to them. And to encourage them to say, hey, you know, I was in that rut too, just, you know, here's my experience, but you got to know yourself, you know, in order to move forward. So that's what I had been doing and have been doing since the pandemic has hit.
So knowing yourself, not, you know, not a lot of individuals, young adults, not a lot of individuals really get a chance to really think about knowing ourselves, knowing themselves.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? How did that evolve in your life?
When I was younger, I used to hold a lot of things in, and I didn't know how to really just put it out there. But I found a way to be able to let it all out, not only just through performing and singing, because as I was young, as my mother would say, I was a busybody. But then it just kind of all shut down. I became like an extrovert. And now I'm like, when I'm on stage, I'm like the greatest extrovert ever, and then I'm back to being an introvert. But holding on to a lot of emotions is not good, especially if it's something like anger or hurt. You don't want to hang on to that. So journaling became a big thing for me, journaling and praying. So I would get like go to Walmart or something, or Michael's or Target, wherever you want to find whatever journal. It can be plain, it can be pretty, it can be sparkly, it can be colorful, it can be black. I don't care. Just find it. It can be small, it can be big, whatever. And I just started writing anything that came to my head, whether if it was in poem form or if it was just word diarrhea, just was write. And it became so cathartic that I was just like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this because this really helps me to not only get all of the emotion off of my chest, but at the same time, if there's something in my head that a problem or something that's just so tangled up that even if I try to talk about it, it doesn't work. Writing it out helps. So and praying about it also helped as well. So I would just do it before I go to bed, and I'll do it when I get up in the morning. I'm good for the rest of the day. That really did help. And it also tied back in again to writing. It also tied back into me writing just random stories. Like I can have so many crazy ideas up here that I'll just start writing. Not just in my journal, but just writing on my computer. Be like, okay, so I'm having this girl's doing this, and then she's going to do here, and it's going to go here, and okay, switch all that around. I think I got a story. There's a lot of errors in here, but it's a start.
With this performance piece, are you planning on publishing at some point?
I have been pushed in that direction by a lot of people. It was this all came back out when I was in high school, because so talking about the whole, when I mentioned about repeating a lot of the stuff that I did in the VHSs when I repeat a movie, I think in the 6th grade I had, I remember repeating a Sailor Moon movie, and I'd actually got a piece of paper and I would just literally write out the whole entire thing. Of course, my science teacher took it. I never saw it again, but I still had it in my head. But I said to myself, I bet I can write a story similar to that, but with these completely different characters, and I would just start writing. And people were just like, oh, this is really good. You know, you should turn it into something. I was like, yeah, whatever. Then I started writing some more. I wrote my really first fanfic novel, The Phantom of the Opera. That was ridiculously, I don't even know how I did that. I just did it. And then there are other things that I just started writing, and they just keep coming out. And I still have them to this day. So some of them I'm just like, I don't even know why I wrote that. It's terrible.
So what do you see in your near future? What are some of the things that you're looking forward to doing this year and possibly in the next 5 years?
Oh, I'm looking forward to performing still. I know that this craziness this pandemic has been crazy, but I also believe that things like this don't last very long.
No.
And I will be doing online performances, but I also am going to be a part of Opera Orlando's upcoming studio artists. So for their 2020-2021 season. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm good to get back into the theater and perform again. So I'm happy. And in the next 5 years, I plan and hope and pray that I will be singing all over the world. Actually, you know, I am going to be singing all over the world. This is scratch hope. I'm to do it. So that is my determination and my goal and my dream.
Excellent. And what do you want to share out there to the world in regards to what you're doing and where you're going? What is it, the one thing that you want to share with them?
I'm here and I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to share this amazing gift that has been given to me. And I hope that it touches each and every one of you guys in one way or another, and that it'd be the most authentic that you can get.
Kyaunnee, I would just want to share with you, your confidence is not ego. Your confidence is love. There's no ego in this whatsoever. The joy that you have in this moment, let alone it comes through in the music that you perform and in the writing that you do. And I hope that our audience taps into that and begins to watch you and begins to engage with you. And not only do I hope, but I know that you will be touching many people's lives. And I look forward to seeing all kinds of other little girls out there that are inspired by you, because the stories that you tell, not just in your writing, but through your voice and through your body language when you perform, it's strong. You have this beautiful sense of life about you, and it really does come across. So keep doing what you're doing. It is beautiful, You are beautiful. And I'm honored to just be having this conversation with you. And I enjoy the opportunity because in the future, I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk again.
Yeah,
And I look forward to whenever you're around my area. And if I'm down in Florida at all, I'm going to come find you and give you a big old hug. Definitely. We gotta meet. You're a beautiful soul. Definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And we'll be talking to you soon, okay?